What if I told you the device you're holding right now has more computing power than the entire Apollo 11 mission? That's right. The phone in your pocket is millions of times more powerful than the systems NASA used to land on the moon. But how did we go from brick-sized, antenna-wielding mobile phones to the sleek, AI-powered devices we can't live without today? Let's rewind to the beginning. Before smartphones, before touchscreens, before even texting was a thing. The birth of mobile phones, 1970s, 1980s. The first ever mobile phone call was made on April 3, 1973, by a Motorola engineer named Martin Cooper. He used a prototype called the Motorola DynaTAC 8000X to call a rival company and basically say, "Hey, we beat you to it." That's some next-level corporate flexing. 10 years later, in 1983, the DynaTAC finally hit the market. It was huge, almost 10 inches tall, weighed 2.5 pounds, and had a battery life of 30 minutes. Oh, and it cost $4,000. Oh, that's over $12,000 today. And for what? Just making phone calls. No texting, no internet, no Candy Crush. But even with its massive size and ridiculous price, it was a status symbol. If you had one, you were either rich, powerful, or in an 80s action movie. The 90s, the rise of the cell phone. By the 90s, mobile phones started shrinking and getting way more practical. Nokia and Motorola led the charge with devices like the Nokia 1011 and the Motorola StarTAC, the first clamshell flip phone. Then came the Nokia 3310, arguably the most legendary phone of all time. It had legendary durability. Seriously, it could survive a nuclear explosion. Insane battery life, and of course, Snake, the game that turned millions of people into professional thumb athletes. Another huge moment? Text messaging. The first ever SMS was sent in 1992, and by the late 90s, texting was more popular than calling. Imagine a world where you could send a message without actually having to talk to someone. Revolutionary. The 2000s. The smartphone awakens. The early 2000s gave us some wild phone designs. BlackBerry keyboards, sliding phones, flip phones, even phones with styluses. The BlackBerry, in particular, was a game changer. With its full QWERTY keyboard and email capabilities, it was basically a mini computer. Every businessman, politician, and celebrity had one, until one company changed the game forever. 2007, the iPhone revolution, then came Steve Jobs and the first iPhone. No buttons, no keyboard, just a giant touchscreen. It was sleek, futuristic, and completely different from anything before it. The real innovation? The App Store, which turned phones into music players, gaming devices, GPS navigators, and more. A year later, Android entered the ring with the HTC Dream, T-Mobile G1, bringing customization, widgets, and open-source flexibility. This started the legendary Apple versus Android war, a battle that still rages on today. The 2010s, the smartphone becomes a supercomputer. The 2010s were all about making phones smarter, faster, and more powerful. 1. Touchscreens became the norm, making physical keyboards a thing of the past. 2. Cameras improved drastically, with phones eventually replacing digital cameras. 3. AI assistants like Siri, Google Assistant, and Alexa made phones smarter than ever. 4. Face ID and fingerprint scanning made unlocking phones futuristic and secure. 5. 5G and cloud computing made downloading and streaming lightning fast. And let's not forget the rise of social media apps, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, turning smartphones into content creation machines. The future, what's next? So where do we go from here? 1. Foldable phones like the Samsung Galaxy Z. Fold are bringing back the flip phone, but with futuristic touchscreens. 2. Augmented reality and AI are making our phones more intuitive than ever. 3. Brain-computer interfaces. 3. Some companies are working on phones you can control with your thoughts. Will smartphones disappear completely and just be part of our bodies? Will we get holograms instead of screens? One thing's for sure, the smartphone isn't done evolving yet. What do you think the next big phone innovation will be? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you loved this trip through time, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more deep dives into tech history. See you in the next one!